The National Energy Regulator of South Africa has approved City Power's application for a tariff increase. Residents in the City of Johannesburg will now pay an extra 12.72%, with customers on the extended social package expected to possibly pay less. Let's now get more details and speak to Frank Hinda, City Power's Tariffs General Manager, who joins us live now. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's just start with the cost supply study that was done that necessitated this decision. What were some of the outcomes?
Good evening, ma'am, and good evening to the viewers. Yeah, some of the outcomes is that some of the tariffs are not cost reflective. And also what it means is that overall, there is challenges with City Power's overall cost reflectivity. But having said that, within across customer categories, there is still a significant cases where some of the customers, like residential customers and the residential prepaid customers in particular, are still being cross-subsidized to a level that is fairly unsustainable.
And how bad is it in terms of unsustainability, as you say?
What we are seeing is that, remember, if with respect to the residential conventional customers, they are very much closer to cost reflectivity. But it's really bad for the prepaid customers because they have not been for a very long time having had any fixed charge to their tariff. Their tariff was always based on the consumption only.
So does this mean, for example, when we talk about these increases, that it will be the same across the board, or will it be spread out differently?
It will, various customer categories will see various increases.
Are you able to tell us about them? Sorry.
When it comes to the residential prepaid, we have split them into two categories going forward. Prepaid low, which is catering for more the indigent customers. That one is not attracting the 200 rand basic charges that we have introduced. So therefore, they will experience an increase that's below approximately about 6%. Residential prepaid high, which is all other residential customers, they will experience a 12.7% increase for the energy charge. But on top of that, they will be for the first time paying a basic charge of 200 rand, consisting of a 70 rand FEDI charge and 130 rand for the network capacity availability charge that we have never been paying, or their contribution was very insignificant that has been collected from the energy charge.
And there are some, of course, who are querying this particular network capacity charge. Let's speak to those viewers tonight who are saying that, but why? Why do they need to pay it now?
But remember, when you have electricity, when you go to the house, if you are a prepaid customer, you are away from the house. Most of the electricity usage is switched off. Your geyser is off. It doesn't use electricity when it's off. However, when you go back and switch on the geyser, within an hour or so, you would want to have warm water. That means the infrastructure that is there to enable that has to be maintained, which means that infrastructure must be available even when you're not consuming electricity. It's not like City Power rolls that infrastructure up when you are away. It remains there and it's available, and prepaid customers are not effectively contributing to that availability of the network. And we need to maintain the network to make sure that it's available to the customer on demand.
Let's talk then to those who are on the extended social package. And of course, you said around 6% or so. What informed that?
We looked at the affordability criteria, and as far as that is concerned, we limited the increase with respect to the very first block, which is customers using up to 350 kilowatt hours. That increase was limited. As a result, the overall increase to that category will be lower. It was assessed that the 200 rand basic charge may not be affordable to them, so their cross-subsidization has still been maintained into the foreseeable future.
Some say that for them, any increase, hits hard when it comes to their pockets. But at the same time, as City Power, as you say, there is infrastructure that needs to be maintained here. How do you begin to balance these particular scales? Because some who are saying that the cost of living is also making things impossible.
Indeed, but City Power is in the business of distributing electricity, so therefore it is at the end of the value chain. Essentially, our bulk supplier is Eskom and a few other smaller bulk suppliers. 75% of our operating costs as City Power is actually to purchase bulk purchases. So therefore, inflation in that environment has essentially been driven by excessive increases in the bulk purchases cost, which we simply we are in a situation where we are hard pressed to that. We cannot absorb much of it. We have to pass it on to the customer. Otherwise, we then become operationally. It becomes an operational challenge if we don't do that sufficiently.
Is that also the reason why maybe we then saw that particular court case with Eskom calling on you to settle your debt, and that's now the court has ruled in the favor of Eskom to ensure that that particular debt is settled? Is that the reason, especially when you look at these operational costs, and how far are you with regards to making sure that you do settle that debt?
Remember, as we spend about R1 billion a month buying electricity from Eskom. So that means that at any given time, City Power will be indebted to Eskom for about approximately R1 billion. The court case has to do about a dispute that is there between the two parties. There was a judgment that came out, which we respect. But in the meantime, we have also appealed the judgment, and the jury at the end of the day is still out as to who owes who, as far as the disputed cost is concerned.
You're still disputing that particular cost as you're now taking this matter on appeal. How confident are you that maybe a higher court may find in your favor? And what happens if it doesn't?
I'm not the most qualified to talk about that, but we are indeed very confident that a higher court may well find in our favor.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for clarifying some of these increases for us and giving us a sense of how things are likely to look, especially for different consumers in the different packages. That was Frank Hinda, the City Power's Tariffs General Manager.